So today we are going to be taking a look at a product from Blitzwolf. Now I almost passed up on this opportunity because at first I thought this was just an LED camping lamp, and that would make a really boring review. It's like, hey guys, look at this lamp, you push this button, the light comes on, and it's over in 30 seconds. That's no fun at all. But after further reading, I realized that this is actually a USB power bank slash LED camping lamp combo, and I wanted to check this out. It claims to have like 60 hours of battery life in the low light mode. It has a couple different modes as far as the LED light is concerned. And it has a built-in power bank. I believe the capacity of that is around 3,000 milliamp hours. I'm not sure if there's a separate battery in this for the power bank and the light, or if it's just all running off one battery. That's something that we are going to figure out during the review. But it'd be interesting to put some of the specs to the test, and it also claims to be waterproof. So it looks like this is going to turn out to be a pretty interesting review. But first, before we can test any of that, we have to take this thing out of the box. So if you guys are interested in this, currently it is selling for $16.99 on Banggood. I will put the link down in the description. Now I know that the advertised capacity of the battery bank function really isn't that much. That's about, I would say, depending on your phone, maybe about one full charge of your phone's battery. But you have to keep in mind that this is really meant to be a lantern with a built-in power bank function. So when they were designing this thing, the lantern aspect really took priority. As you can see, I have it out of the box now. Unfortunately, it had a sticker on the front. I took the sticker off and it left a bunch of residue behind, so I'm gonna have to grab some isopropyl rubbing alcohol and get all of this gunk on the front off. So in the package, we have the lantern itself, a little lanyard, USB cable, user manual right here. There's some useful information in here, so I'll take some high definition pictures and throw those up on the screen while I am talking. And we have a little customer service card right here. Not going to need that, hopefully. Now, as far as dimensions are concerned, this is a pretty compact lantern slash USB battery bank. It's approximately 5.5 inches tall and about 1.5 inches thick. Now, we're just going to cycle through the power phases right now. It has, I believe, 5 different functions. So first off, we should see a dim white light. And by the way, you can cycle through the power phases using this little green rubber dome button right here. So that's low light, low white light. And this is the mode where it can stay on for 60 to 75 hours. So we're going to bump it up. That is the highlight scenario. And I believe with this mode, you can get about 10 hours of life out of this thing. Now we have a red light, red flashing light, and then a red SOS light. Now, if I turn it off here, you will notice that there is this small little blue LED down in the corner blinking, and that is a battery indication light. I'm going to check the user manual right now because I don't remember what the flashes mean off the top of my head. So one flash is 0 to 25% charged, 2 flashes is 25 to 50% charged, 3 flashes, 50 to 70%, and 4 flashes, 70 to 100%. And when this thing is completely charged up, the light will just remain a steady blue. It won't flash at all. So you're probably wondering, how does this function as a USB battery bank if there's not a USB port on it? Like, where is it? Well, it's right under here. So we're just going to unscrew this bottom cap. It is insulated with a O-ring in there, so hopefully no water should get in there. Once again, I will test if this thing really is waterproof. It's advertised to be waterproof up to 2 meters, so that should be interesting. USB-A port right here for charging, so you're going to take your USB cable right here. Actually, I'll demonstrate that right now because I have my Samsung Galaxy S4 right next to me, and my dog just decided to freak out, so I had to cut it right there. But anyway, it is plugged into the lantern slash USB battery bank, and now I'm just going to plug it into my phone. I will, conduct some more rigorous tests on this thing as the video goes on. I have some USB multimeters in my drawer right behind me. But as you can see, my phone is now charging through the lantern. And yes, it will charge even when the lantern is on. Ta-da! Now you can use the same USB cable for charging, so we're going to take the USB Type-A end and plug it into my laptop, but you could plug this into any 5-volt USB source, such as a USB power bank or a USB wall wart, etc., etc. So I'm going to plug that into my ThinkPad, and we're going to plug the micro USB end into the power bank. Yeah, I had to cut that because I could not do it with one hand. But as you can see, the blue LED is now blinking, which indicates that this thing is now charging. So we're going to wait for this to reach a full charge, and when it reaches a full charge, that light is going to turn a solid blue. I've spent a little bit more time with this thing, and as of now, I have nothing bad to say about it. Durability-wise and functionality-wise, everything is there. Everything's a-okay, so it is completely composed of plastic, but in a sense, that's a good thing because it makes it really light, and even though it is all plastic, it's very, very durable. I mean, I was not afraid to take this thing and just chuck it across my yard. I have a couple clips of me doing so, and as you can see, no harm came of it. I also dropped this in the sink. It is indeed waterproof, and it does float. So if you drop it in water, don't worry, it'll float back up to the top, and it is weighted so that the face with the light coming out of it actually faces up, so that is nice as well. And then functionality wise, this is only 100 lumens, but it got the job done. I went outside, it was pitch black, I turned the light on, and I could navigate around just fine. I also have some clips of that if you guys want to actually see how bright this thing is. And I also got a couple different shots of the different modes, so you can take a look at that footage yourself. So there are two more things I need to test. I need to test the capacity of the internal battery, and I need to test the runtime for the low white light power mode. That's a tongue twister for me, and I had to say it really slow there. I did put the USB port to the test real quick, and it turns out that I can output a max of 1 amp at 5 volts. So I'll go ahead and demonstrate that right now. And as you can see, I did get some new USB testing gear. This is a new USB meter right here. We can see our voltage and current draw right there. And I also got some new USB dummy loads. These can pull a max of 4 amps, I think. So upgraded the tech there. But as I bumped this up, you can see that once we get past an amp, our voltage just hits the floor, and that's all we are going to be able to pull from this thing. So I'm going to bump that back down. It looks like we're only going to be able to pull an amp max from this USB port. And there is one thing I did just figure out. So it turns out that when you're pulling power from the USB port, you can only use one light mode, and that is the dim white light mode. If I try to cycle through the modes, you can see that it doesn't let you. You're stuck with this one white light mode when you are charging a USB device. And for those of you who are wondering, yes, you can use it and charge it at the same time, but once again, you are stuck with that one white light mode. Last night, I plugged in a USB dummy load and let it deplete the battery overnight. When I got up, I checked the USB multimeter, and we had a reading of, where did my Sharpie go? 1813 milliamp hours. I plugged in the USB dummy load a couple more times because there was still a little bit of charge left in this thing, and I got another 43 milliamp hours out of it. And of course, I had to factor in inefficiencies because the voltage is actually being stepped up from 3.7 volts to 5 volts because there is a 3.7 volt battery inside here. And how do we get that up to 5 volts? Well, we use something like a buck converter. And I kind of just guessed the efficiency there. I went with 85%. That seems like a worst case scenario. Maybe 80% would have been better. But with that figure, I added an additional 278 milliamp hours for a total of 2,134 milliamp hours at 5 volts. Now, it doesn't make sense to compare that to the advertised capacity just yet. We need to convert both of those figures to watt hours. So if we convert that 2,134 at 5 volts to watt hours, that's approximately 10.67 watt hours. And if we do it for the advertised capacity, that's approximately 12.39 watt hours. So at the moment, we're sitting at about a 15% difference between those two figures. But you do have to understand that they're even now, even after I tried to completely deplete this thing, there is still a little bit of charge left in that battery. As you can see, I'll turn it on now, and it still lights up. So there is a little bit of juice left in that battery, and yes, the battery bank and the light use the same battery. So these figures are pretty darn close, considering that, yes, there is still some charge left in the battery at the moment. I was trying to conduct a battery life test here, and it was kind of a fail on my part, but at the same time, it's kind of impressive. So, as you can see, I have a number right here, 1,812 milliamp hours, and that is the total capacity pulled from the battery in this thing using the USB dummy load and the USB multimeter after running this in low light mode for 1 hour. So after I ran it for 1 hour, I plugged both of these in and then drained the thing all the way down to the cutoff point, just as I did before here. But when I ran it during this trial, I didn't actually turn the light on for 1 hour beforehand. I just ran it right after I finished charging it. And as you can see, there's pretty much no difference between those two numbers. So I was going to do some math. I got a clean sheet of paper out right here, and I was ready to jot some stuff down, but there's really no point because there's no difference. Now, you know, this isn't 100% accurate. When the light was running for 1 hour, it didn't pull 1 milliamp hour. This was just for a rough estimation, but as you can see, that light, the LED lights in this thing on low power mode really aren't consuming much. So I would have to say that yes, this is going to fall in line with that 60 to 75 hour rating. And really, that's all I have to say. That's about it for this review. I'm going to try to keep this under 10 minutes. I was editing it earlier and it was starting to go over, so I'm going to cut it off now while I kind of still have you guys on the hook. Or maybe I lost some of you guys. I don't know. That's going to be about it for this review. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can go ahead and post a comment down in the comment section. Don't forget to drop a like on this video. If you didn't like this video, please tell me why. And right now, I'm going to address the one problem I have with this lamp/USB power bank, and that is the charging time. The charging time is just absolutely outrageous. It takes 6 hours to charge this thing. It's only a 3300 milliamp hour battery. It takes 6 hours, and that's because it appears that the charging current is limited to 500 milliamps. So this review was only supposed to take a couple hours, but ended up taking like, I think at this point it's been a good 2 days because it's just taken so long to charge this thing. I've had to charge it up like 3 times. So that's really the only issue I had with it. Also, I went through the reviews and read a lot of people complaining about the blue light. They couldn't get it to turn off. Yeah, it turns off automatically. You can't turn it off using the button. You just gotta let it sit there, and eventually it will stop blinking. So it turns off by itself. Don't worry about that. It auto shut. There it goes. It already auto shut off. If I fudged up on my math over here, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section. I will see you guys in the next installment of AA Computers and Technology.